Hey guys, welcome to AnimezRUs. This is episode 1 of hopefully many fanfiction reads that will be going on my channel. This is a Ryou Bakura fanfiction, and if I am saying that wrong, I am sorry. I do not pretend to even try any Japanese words. So if there are words in here that are Japanese or some other language, and I do know the meaning of, I will translate them to the best of my knowledge. If not, I will butcher them, and I am extremely sorry for this. This is You're Not the Only One. Come on, Bakura, the tall, star-haired man said, his red eyes gleaming with excitement. He doesn't want me there, the white-haired man replied. Yes, he does, spoke a tan, sand-colored haired man, winking his one tattooed eye. He told me not to go, Bakura sighed, folding his arms. The two other boys in the room sat beside him on the tan couch. He wrote you a poem, Yami stated. No, he didn't. He wouldn't. Bakura leaned back. Yugi told me. Yugi doesn't lie. Ryou wrote you something. The red-eyed man laid his hand on his friend's shoulder. You owe him to at least listen to it. Tonight is the only night he said he was doing anything. Malik said the teacher begged him to do more than one, but he refused, Merrick said, laying his cheek on his hand, leaning forward. Ryou doesn't refuse teachers. What if he refuses to do it 'cause I'm there? The white-eyed argued. Wear a hood and keep it up. Oh, also, don't start any fights. They all laughed at that. All right, I'll go. There. Then after you can confess, Merrick exclaimed. No, Bakura stood suddenly. No, I can't. I won't do that to him. Look at what you're doing to him now. You're pushing him away, Yami soothed. I'll hurt him. I know it. Bakura sat back down between his friends, head in his hands. I won't do it, Bakura mumbled. All right, we better get going. It will start soon. All three stood and walked to the door of the small apartment Bakura used to share with Ryou, grabbing a black zip-up hoodie on the way. Ryou moved out because of a fight with his Yami. Bakura hated what he did, but he knew it was what was best for his light, to be away from him. The room was dark and filled with chairs, couches, love seats, and cushions on the ground. Most were filled with the classmates of the lights, but some were friends and family of the speakers. Yami pulled up Bakura's hood when Merrick looked for a good spot for them to sit. You guys go to your other halves, Bakura said sadly. I'll be in that chair after it's all done. He pointed to a dark corner of the room, holding a single dark blue high-backed chair. All right, but stay for the whole show. Don't leave. Yami spoke quietly, but demandingly. Yeah, sure, whatever. Just as Bakura sat on the oversized chair, the lights on the stage flashed, showing a slim, blonde woman in a black dress. Well, welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming. First off, we have Ryou Bakura. The white-haired man in the back slipped further down his chair as his younger tamer look-alike stepped in front of the mic. Thank you. Ryou took a deep breath, looking around the room, making sure one person in particular wasn't there. Ra, stop looking at me. It's so distracting when you give me those eyes. It makes me want you all over again. I meet your eyes because you look at me. You told me you didn't want me. Well, fuck this. You said you didn't want me, but you look at me all the time. I look away. Don't look over at me. and expect me not to notice. Trust me, I do. I notice everything you do. I don't want to, I don't mean to, but I do. I can feel my heart burning with feelings of love or hate I cannot know. This gray kills me. I cannot talk to you without all the hatred coming back to me. Yet when we are not talking, I can imagine us again. I can imagine the good times we had. And now I am taunted every day I see you. Could I leave you alone if I wanted to? If you forgot about me, could I do the same? Who the hell knows? I slowly opened myself up to you. Why can't we be back together again? Is it because of me? I stood up for something in my life, and it all turned to ash. I was willing to give you the fucking world. I was selfless enough to dedicate my life to making us work, and you said I was selfish. If only that were true. If only I cared about myself. I would have stayed and lived off your wealth and knowledge and experience. But no, I did not have the heart to do that. My entire being could not just give up all my hard work. I need to be needed. I need to prove something to your cold heart. I feel love towards you, but I think you just wanted an image of a future, a person to do your every command. The tears that burned Ryu's eyes were nothing compared to the water flowing from his darker halves. Claps erupted around the room as Ryu bowed and left to join his friends off to the side. For the rest of the night, Bakura's eyes would not leave his shaking love's form. After it was all over, everyone but the small group of friends and Bakura remained. Soft sobs echoed throughout the empty room. It's okay, Ryu. Let's get you home and make you some tea, yeah? The smallest of the group asked, pulling the boy into a hug. Home? Ryu asked softly. With Cora? No, Ryu. Back to my home, Yugi said softly, pulling the shaking form into a tighter hug as a heart-wrenching sob forced its way past his lips. Both Yami and Merrick looked to the corner of the room to make sure Bakura was still there. Time to set things right, or at least try to. Yugi, if Ryu wants to, he should go back to Bakura. No, Ryu yelled, pulling out of the small tri-haired boy's arms. No, he whispered, hugging himself. Ryu, have you seen Bakura lately? Malik asked, leaning into his look-alike. He won't see me. He won't even answer my texts, the smaller white-ette boy whispered. He broke his phone, just so he wouldn't call you back, Merritt admitted. Bakura shuddered at the memory. He's lost a lot of weight. He hardly eats anymore. Why are you telling me this? Ryu asked, holding his head. I know this. I've been sending him money to get groceries, but he doesn't leave the house. Bakura's breath caught in his throat. He hadn't looked at his account since the fight. Ryu, Bakura sighed. Yugi sighed. Don't, the white-eye called, standing from the group. I know he needs me, but he won't let me help him. He won't let me love him, he whispered the last part. Bakura forced himself closer to the chairs as Ryu's eyes wandered. I'll hurt you, he heard himself whisper. He thinks he will hurt you. He doesn't think that someone as sweet as you could love a thief like him. All he wants is for you to be happy, Ryu. Yami explained, even if it kills him. As they all waited on Ryu's response, Bakura silently left the building. He would make sure Ryu had a better life, one without pain and sorrow, but also without him. It was what was best for his light. Ryu awoke the next morning at the light breeze coming through his open window. I could have sworn that was closed when I went to bed, he thought to himself. As he sat up and stretched, his eyes caught something white on his desk at Yugi's house. The small white box had a light pink bow wrapped around it. Wow, Ryou said out loud as he opened it to discover it was filled with many different kinds of cream puffs. Author's note, I don't know if cream puffs come in different kinds. Beta reader note, cream puffs are made with ice cream. Alright. Ryou, you up? Yugi called, opening the door. Where'd that come from? A sob shook the white-haired boy. Cora. But, no, it couldn't have been him. I saw him last night. Yami stuck his head through the open door. He left something out front, too. He what? Ryou ran from the room, almost pushing both star-haired boys over. Yami, what is Bakura doing? Making Ryu's life better without him. Yami hugged his light, remembering his conversation with the thief the night before. Yami, please, you have to help me, the thief begged. I don't have to do anything, the ex-pharaoh replied. Yeah, you're right. I just want him to be happy. Bakura sat on the front porch to the game shop. Then tell him you love him. That's all he wants, Yami said, sitting down beside Bakura. I'd rather go back to the Shadow Realm than hurt him anymore. But you are Bakura. He cries himself to sleep every night. All he wants is you. The white-et gasped and stood up. That's it. Are you going to tell him? Yami asked, watching Bakura walk away. No. And then he ran. A gasp brought Yami out of his thoughts as he walked to the living room. Wow. That's... Yugi stated, staring at the large white teddy bear sitting on top of the couch. I told him you don't sleep well, so he got you something to cuddle with, Yami explained. Ryou said nothing. He couldn't move. That ass! He finally called, angrily kicking the bear. Ryou, stop! No, he thinks this thing will help? He yelled, turning back to his friends, tears flowing from his eyes. Tell him if he wants to help. A sob forced its way past his lips. Tell him to let me come home. Bakura watched through the window. He had tried and failed to make his angel happy. They were right, he sighed to himself. I guess it's time. Yami saw that Bakura wanted him. Quietly leaving the room, he went to the front door, opening it to reveal Bakura. You were right, Atem. You were always right, Bakura said softly. Yugi, come here a sec, Yami called over his shoulder. I'll be right back, Rai. Yugi then walked around the corner to see a disheveled thief standing at the door. Finally came to take him back. Took you long enough, Yugi commented. I know, I just needed time, Bakura replied. Yugi, who's... Ryou stopped mid-sentence, staring past his friend to his Yami. Hi, Rai, Bakura waved slightly, only to watch his light run away from him. Guess this was a bad idea. Bakura then turned and walked out. Thank you for taking care of him for me. Rai, can I come in? Yugi called from the other side of the door. When Ryou didn't reply, he slowly opened the door to see the white-haired man sitting cross-legged on the bed. He wasn't actually there, was he? He never came to get me. Ryou sobbed. Yes, Ryou, he did, Yugi said, running to his friend's side. But he told me he didn't want me. Rai, I think it's time you go home, Yami said from the door. As much as I hate the idea, you should go, Yugi agreed. He wants me? To go home? Yes, they both replied together. Suddenly, an opening in his almost always closed mind link Ryou was sent to his knees as pain racked through his body. Ryou, talk to me, a very concerned Yugi called. I have a feeling Bakura did something really stupid. Take me to him, Yami, please. Ryou stood at the door to his room, hand laying gently on the handle. A soft sob made its way through the door. Korra? Ryou whispered, slowly turning the handle. What he saw shocked him to silence. Bakura was sitting on his bed, tears streaming down his face. Extravagant Egyptian knife in his one hand. But what shocked him the most was the blood running down his arm from the cuts across his wrist. Bakura! Ryou ran to his Yami, throwing his arms around his shoulders. Ryou? Bakura asked. Yes, Korra, I'm here. I'm sorry, Rai. I'm so sorry. I just missed you so much. Bakura sobs. So much it hurt. Ryou pulls back from the hug and rolls up his sleeves to show his darkness, the art show of scars crisscrossing his arm. You're not the only one. So that is our first of many fan fictions. And this was a story that I wrote myself with the help of my friend who gave me the idea with a poem she wrote about her ex-boyfriend. Part of her poem actually is what Ryou is reading in front of his classmates, edited so it would make more sense for their relationship, but still quite to her standards. She was also my beta reader for this, so thank you very much. And I'll put a link in the description to my fanfiction.net account and my archive of our own account, which will have this and many more stories. And this story, if you didn't catch it, was called You're Not the Only One, and it is a one-chapter story, but the second chapter will be her original poem. If you would like me to read that, please comment below. If you have any pairings you yourself like, or a story you have written that you would wish to share, please put them in the description, or in the comments, and send them to me. I would love to read them, no matter the pairing, the genre, or what it's from. I just want to hear from you guys. So I hope you enjoyed, and peace.